Okay, assignment 9, we're getting into buying and selling stock and talking about capital gains or capital losses or percentage of gain and things like that. So example 1 that we're going to talk about says several years ago Marlene purchased stock for $7,241. Last week she sold it for $9,219. What was her gross capital gain? Well, the capital gain means that she made money. And her gross capital gain would basically mean what she sold it for minus what she paid for it. So that's the solution. You subtract the purchase price from the selling price to find her capital gain. The selling price was $9,219. The purchase price was $7,241. If you subtract those, this is how much she gained. Okay. She had a capital gain of $1,978, and she's got to report this income on her tax return. And we'll talk more about tax returns when we get there. So let's work this one together. Brett used money he received as a gift for high school graduation to purchase $4,000 worth of shares. After he graduated from college, he really needed the money to buy a car, so he sold the stock. And he sold it for $2,433. What was his capital gain or loss? Well, if he paid this much for it and he sold it for that much, that's going to be a loss. So to find out how much he lost, simply take $4,000 minus $2,433, and you're going to get a loss of $1,567. That would be a capital loss. All right, let's talk about this one. So 5 years ago, Jessica bought 300 shares of a cosmetics company stock for $34.87 per share. Yesterday, she sold all of the shares for $41 per share. What was her capital gain? So this is the same type of question we were just looking at, but it doesn't tell us exactly how much she paid for it or how much she sold it for, the gross amount. It just tells what she paid per share and what she sold it per share. So if she bought 300 shares at this much, we need to figure out how much she paid total for those 300 shares. Well, you just take the stock price times the 300 shares, gives you $10,461. And now we need to know how much she got when she sold it. Well, she sold it for $41 per share. So how much she received was $41 per share times the 300 shares would be this much. So this is what she paid. This was what she sold it for. So to figure out how much she made, you simply take what she sold it for minus what she paid for it, and that would be her gross capital gain, $1,839. So let's try this one together. Kelvin bought 125 shares of stock for $68.24 per share. He sold them 9 months later for $85.89 per share. Looks like he did pretty good. What was his capital gain? So 125 times 68.24 would give us what he paid for them. 125 times 68.24 would be $8,530. That's what he paid for them. He sold them for $85.89 a share. So 125 shares times $85.89 would give me what he sold them for. 85.89 times 125 would be $10,736.25. So to figure out how much he made, I just need to subtract what he paid for them what he sold them for minus what he paid for them. So $10,736.25 minus $8,530 gives me $2,206.25, which would be a capital gain because he made money. if he had lost money, it would have been a capital loss. All right, moving on. Randy paid $3,450 for shares of a corporation that manufactured cell phones. He sold it for $6,100. Express his capital gain as a percent of the original purchase price, round to the nearest tenths. Well, he sold it for this. He paid that, so he's got a capital gain. How much was his gain? Well, you do take what he sold it for minus what he paid for it. So this would be his gain in dollars. But that's not what it's asking us to find. It's asking us to find the percent of gain. So remember, we were doing this exercise in class where you just take the difference in take the gain and divide it by what he originally started with, which was $3,450. And when you divide that, you get approximately 0.7681. The decimal. As a percent, we need to move that decimal place 2 places, and that would give us 76.8% because we're rounding to the nearest tenth of a percent. So 76, he made 76.8% capital gain on that investment. So let's look at this one. Allison bought shares in Citigroup for $55 a share. She sold them later for $35 a share, so it looks like she lost money. Express her loss as a percent. So it doesn't tell us how many shares. It just tells us the dollar amount. And that's okay. We can find the percent just by the dollar amount per share. So she bought him for $55. She sold him for $35. So she bought him for $55. She sold him for $35. So that's a $20 difference per share. And this is a loss. Remember, she paid $55. She sold him for $35. So this is a loss. And similar to what we did up here, we're going to take the difference between the two, which would be 20, or negative 20 because it was a loss, and divide that by what she started with. And she started at $55. So this is how we're going to get the decimal. So 20 divided by 55 would be, actually we know that's a loss. I'm not going to bring the negative into it because we know it's a loss anyways. That would be 0.3636. That's the decimal. So as a percent, I would move that decimal 2 places, and we're rounding to the nearest percent. So this would be 36% because this 3 would not push the whole percent up. So 36%. 36% loss because it went down. Okay. All right. This one is where we're going to end this lesson at. So if you have any questions, just ask me in class. That is assignment 9.